thank you for being here. This is a wonderful day in the neighborhood, to quote one of our favorite people. I'm Carla Hayden with the Enoch Pratt Free Library, and I tell you there are so many library staff members that are here because we are just excited as you are that this long-awaited project is finally here and that we're cutting ribbons and we're going to have refreshments and we're just celebrating because it has been a time. And the delay has been frustrating to all of us, but I think you'll all agree that we have something wonderful for that wait. The yes. And Miss Mary Pat Clark, of course, is leading the cheers because, as I'll mention later, she has been the one that's been making sure everything has moved along. And I think it's time to just give her a hand right now. Now, we haven't made her shelve any books yet, but we feel like it because she has been that part of it. And we just welcome a special group, though, because we made sure that we had what was called a soft opening on August 31st, the first day of school, because we wanted to make sure that the returning young people had a place to go after school and to be there. We made sure that we were open for them, and we're so glad that we have some representatives of the school community, the Waverly Elementary Middle School. Yay! Come on in, guys. Come on in. Now, they've already been and made their selections in the children's section. You should know that. So they're kind of anxious to get back to that. But come on in. They also were worried because they are going to sing a cappella. But I told them, you know what, sometimes instruments drown you out, so a cappella is the best. I learned something.
It might sound crazy what I'm about to say. Reading books makes everything okay. It's like the sun in the sky shining down on me. Once you learn to read, baby, you'll be forever free. Because I'm reading Clap Along if you feel like reading up on the roof. Because I'm reading Clap Along if you feel like reading when it brings the truth. Because I'm reading Clap Along if you know what reading really means to you. Because I'm reading Clap Along if you feel like reading what you want to do. Put your book in my hand and go anywhere. Maybe if you're lucky, maybe we can share. I shall not ignore you, I'm a reading kind. No need for TV, don't waste your time. Here's why. Because I'm reading Clap Along if you feel like reading up on the roof. Because I'm reading Clap Along if you feel like reading can bring the truth. Because I'm reading Clap Along if you know what reading really means to you. Because I'm reading Clap Along if you feel like reading what you want to do. Fiction books, building information. Fiction books, they take me away. Fiction books, building information. Fiction books, they take me away. Fiction books, building information. Fiction books, they take me away. Fiction books, building information. Fiction books, they take me away. Clap along if you feel like reading up on the roof. Because I'm reading Clap Along if you feel like reading can bring the truth. Because I'm reading Clap Along if you know what reading really means to you. Because I'm reading Clap Along if you Average to excellent. Wait, average over. Story to excellence.
Okay. I feel a YouTube sensation coming on. All right. This is, yes. Thank you, because we are all happy, and you could see everybody clapping along. Thank you. That was the perfect song. We have so many people here today, and I just have to acknowledge all of the elected officials, of course, Councilwoman Mary Pat Clark, State Senator Joan Carter Conway, Delegate Maggie McIntosh, because this was made possible with state funding as well. So this is a true partnership. Members of the Pratt Library Board of Directors led by Pat Lasher, who have been there. Jim and Mary Miller, who have provided some wonderful bags, all made in the USA. So be sure for your market. Pratt Library staff, members of the Pratt Library Board of Trustees, could you please raise your hand? There are so many of them here. Please raise your hands. Of course, and you'll hear more from the friends of the Waverly branch that are here. Everybody's a friend today, but please, friends of the Waverly Library, please raise your hands. Students, teachers, but most of all, the community of Waverly. We can't thank you enough. We dedicate this wonderful library to you, and we were thinking of how we could open this, and we thought about a prayer. And I think our prayers have been answered. So just know that we are grateful for everything. Now, the library is definitely one of the jewels, and some of you might not know that the original Waverly branch opened in 1911. And this branch, nobody was around that time. And this branch opened in 1971. And it's been part of countless families in the Waverly community. And I'd just like to bring up a person who's part of that Waverly community, Senator Paul Sarbanes, who with his children, including one congressman, but frequented this library. Now, just as I mentioned, Councilwoman Mary Pat Clark, trust me, during the deliberations and things, there was one person on the library board who was also pushing and pulling.
Well, Carla, thank you very much. I'll be very quick and brief, but I live just a few blocks from here, easy walking distance. And one of the biggest reasons we bought that house, where we've lived ever since the early 1970s, was because the library was here, which was very important to my wife, who served on the library board for many years, and she was completely dedicated to the library, because the library was very important to her as a young person, as it was to me, actually, the library down on the Eastern Shore where I grew up. And so we bought the house nearby because it was within walking distance. And she used to bring the kids down here to get books out of the library. In fact, she had what she called a reading supper. The rule in our house was you couldn't read at the dinner table. You had to sit with others and have a conversation. So you weren't allowed to bring books or papers and read at the dinner table. So everyone. But on those occasions when I couldn't get back from Washington for dinner or other special occasions, she would have what she called a reading supper. And she'd take the three kids and they'd come down here and they'd all get a pile of books and they'd take them back home, and then supper time would come and they were allowed to bring the books to the dinner table, which was very exciting for them, and they could sit there the whole dinner time and read their books. And that was a sort of a family tradition. So they were very excited about that, and this library's meant a lot. Now, the final word I want to say about the library is I think the phrase to use to encapsulate what's happened here at the Waverly Library is let the sun shine in. Let the light shine in, because I used to come here, as many of you did, and you couldn't see out there. You had no idea what the weather was like in town, whether it was raining or the sun was shining. And now look at this place. It's just fantastic. So Carla, to you and your very dedicated staff who do such a terrific job, thank you all very much. And to the neighborhood, it's a great addition to our neighborhood. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Senator. Mrs. Christine Sarbanes was definitely a board member who stressed that each library branch needed to be a good neighbor in the neighborhood. And part of that was making sure the outside looked as clean and presentable as the inside. And so the landscaping that you see is the result of us always hearing Mrs. Sarbanes' voice in our heads. What are you going to do about the landscaping? So thank you. We also have been joined by Council President Jack Young. And Councilperson Carl Stokes. As you can see, this is a big day in the neighborhood. There are other library branches, I have to tell you, that were built during the same time that had that same structure of being a fortress and being protected against the community. So you will be seeing throughout the city more sunshine coming into library branches over the next few years. This branch is bigger. I mentioned the landscaping that you see. It used to be 13,000 square feet. Now it is more than 17,000 square feet. We went out a little bit. Bookshelves for all ages, the entire building. We also have the latest, greatest technology. Right over there, that space age looking thing is actually a new self-checkout. The latest that you can have. And if your records are presentable, you may go, you don't have to come to the information desk or the checkout desk. You can just go, and for you young people, that gives you an express card. Okay, think of ATM, you check out knowledge. So when we think about Mr. Pratt giving his gift to the city over 100 years ago, he said, I want my library to be free for all without distinction of race or color. He did say as long as they bring the books back. Now there's so many people to thank, and I want to start with that library staff that I told you has been so anxious. We even have the retirees who worked on this before they took their well-deserved retirement, Ms. Ann Smith with collection management, and also Pat Costello, the head of branches, who was the one who really worked. Raise your hands, guys. Yeah, they had to come back because they started it. And that work was carried on by Ms. Eunice Anderson, the head of branches, and John Richardson, our head of facilities. But all the while, the branch manager, who is back, Miss Anne Marie Harvey, she's back, she is here to serve you, and that day of the soft opening, it was just so heartwarming, and I mentioned you, Miss Senator Conway, so I said, she's here, she's here. So heartwarming to see so many community members glad and giving hugs to Anne Marie when we opened that day. Oh, I'm sorry. I just looked out, and like a good librarian, I saw a person doing shh and all that. You know what? It's the teacher for the students. So I was shushing too. I mentioned the state of Maryland for funding this and helping to fund this, and we want to give a special shout out It says to Steve Sharkey, who's the director also of the city's Department of General Services, the architect, Stephanie Schaefer. We also have the city's representative for DGS right here, and of course, those friends led by Angelo. Now, I'd like to bring Mr. Rowe up because the Friends of the Library have been instrumental in keeping this going. They worked with Mary Pat, they worked with the library staff, they raised money, and we're so fortunate that they're still our friends, because what could you do without them, Miss Angelo?
The friends and the volunteers are just glad to be back. We're glad to have everyone back. We were here at the soft opening, and we're just so excited that people can have their books again in the Waverly community, and also that we once again have a safe, clean, beautiful space for our school-age children who desperately need a place to do their homework and also to get a little bit of socialization. Sometimes that gets loud, but that's okay. We're just glad that they are taken care of as they should be. So it is sweet to have our Waverly branch back, and we have indeed brought some sweets for our wonderful staff from Mouth Party Caramel. So just to show our love. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Now, you've heard me talk about Councilwoman Clark several times, and I'm going to bring her up to the microphone. But I must confess something right here. To see her smile, to have her give me a hug, and to have her say, "Job well done," was a major accomplishment. So I bring you your councilwoman, Miss Mary Pat Clark.
Yes, we struggled, but it was always for the library and for the children and for the patrons, and we are very glad to be here. And of course, it's beautiful. It's lovely. We're back. Madam Mayor, thank you for letting this be on our list. And yes, we argued with the architect. She will remember that well. And then we argued with everybody else. And then when we were finished arguing, we came to celebrate what came of democracy in action. Yes. I'm so pleased to be here. I'm so pleased to be here with so many of the people who made this happen. Anne has been like prodding, pushing, but she's much more polite about it, and she brings candy later. Yes. For the people who have worked so hard, our delegation at the state, our senator, Joan Carter Conway, Maggie McIntosh, and Mary Washington, I don't see, but she was practically living here to make this happen, as well as Delegate Kurt Anderson, my president, Jack Young, my colleague, Carl Stokes, and we have Waverly School children, and of course, we're the ones that showed first how to open up public buildings to light and air and freedom and sunshine. Thank you all for your patience. And thanks, Khalil, for all your help. And thank you, Madam Director, for putting up with me.
And now to our very special guest. We are honored that she is here with us this morning despite her very busy schedule. As council president and mayor, she has been one of the greatest library supporters we could have ever had. She will come to every event that we invite her to that she's able to. She was the first person to check out, small commercial, ebooks, and has been known on many trips when she's going to tell people, you know, you can download books for free on your iPad, and really has been the person that has made sure that the Pratt Library stayed in front of the city's agenda. And I just want to personally thank you for being that supporter.
So true to my word, as a big advocate for libraries, I just want you to know, if you didn't already know, that today, sponsored by Overdrive, which is our ebook partner, is National Read and Ebook Day. So as I was sitting here, availing myself of the free Wi-Fi from the Enoch Pratt Free Library, I have downloaded 3 ebooks that I will be listening to over the weekend. I cannot tell you how grateful I am to be here today. For one, I know that Councilwoman Mary Pat Clark will no longer ask me about when we are going to have the opening of the library. For two, Khalil Zaid knows that Mary Pat Clark will no longer ask him. Steve Sharkey, what happened to Steve? Did he run for the hills? Steve is he's going gray. I know, I'm just joking. This is, listen, I'll say this. Everybody said it, we don't have to recount it. This was a project that everyone wanted. This is a project that was important to this community for so many reasons. Waverly is a beautiful community. My mom attends church right down the street. I got married right down the street. It is known historically for its diversity and for its strength. And that diversity and strength was reflected in the strength of this library. So when the community had to grapple with the fact that this library was no longer suitable for what we thought of as the future of the libraries and the future of this community, it was bittersweet. Because on the one hand, we knew that this was coming, and on the other hand, we knew that there was going to be some time when this beautiful place where the community gathers would not be available. So it was out of that bittersweet tension that we strove to make this happen. I want to thank our incredible leader of the libraries, Carla Hayden, Dr. Carla Hayden. Yay. We have a leader in Dr. Hayden that understands the transformative power of libraries and understands that if you think that yesterday's libraries will be suited for today's purposes, you're making a mistake. She continues to innovate when it comes to library and refuses to rest on her laurels. She's always looking for ways that libraries can serve as that community connector and to be an asset in the ways that communities need them, not in the ways they've always been, but in the ways that community needs the libraries to be now and in the future. So I'm glad to play my small part in making all of this happen. I'm very proud to be an advocate for libraries, as my father was, as my mother is, as my daughter, who one of the proudest things I can say about my daughter is not just that she loves school, but she loves to read. And I think, Dr. Hayden, you can take some credit for that because she is a big admirer of yours. So for all of you who love this library, I say thank you for loving us to where we are today. For all of you who are becoming newly acquainted to this library, tell someone about it. We have a library system to be proud about, and to all of our partners who got us to where we are, thank you very, very much, and God bless. Oh, and I forgot to say #ebook_love. That's the hashtag for National eBook Day. Sorry.
All right.
3, 2, 1, go!